have this framework I made called the FIG framework. And it's the idea that F in the American alphabet stands for fail. Well, F is not the end of the alphabet. It's just the end of the grading system. Well, people are afraid to fail. Well, if F stands for failure, then what does the G stand for? And for me, it's growth. And it's called FIG because FIG, the I is. Failure is growth.
The core premise of the show was like there's at least three or four love interests literally obsessed over you, fighting over. Like that was the whole premise of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like.
Welcome back to Big Asian Energy. I cannot contain the level of excitement that is going through me right now. So there was a TV show I started watching on CW. I want to say it was a few years ago when I was going through a really tough breakup. And that TV show was called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It was introduced to me because at the time, it was one of the first shows on TV that I had ever seen featuring an Asian love interest. Asian guy who was a hunky, sexy dude, super sweet, completely defied all of the stereotypes, and it was played by it was playing a character named Josh Chan. The whole story, I love the show, and if you haven't seen it yet, go and check it out. It's absolutely incredible. But I couldn't keep my eyes off of the guy who played Josh Chan, this super, like this hunky dude. And what you probably don't know is that same guy later on went to become like so many different other things. He played a detective on Netflix. He was a video game voiceover legend. He did dubs across Michelle Yeoh in one of the highest grossing animated movies of all time. And, he also now coaches and teaches other people how to be a better performer, and all of this and developing his own production company. I mean, there's just so many things I could dive deeper into about his story and his journey, but I'm just going to jump right into it. Welcome to the show. I'm going to call you Vinnie, but your full official name is Vincent Rodriguez III, right?
That's
Vinnie,
right.
welcome
That's
to the
right.
show.
Hi, John. It's great to finally be here, man.
I'm actually so glad to have you finally being here, because I'm a actual legit fan from so long ago. When you first came in, I was playing the song a boy band made out of four Joshes.
Yeah, that was a nice way to start my session. Like, whoa, there's me.
Yeah.
And you just like laughing off to the side in a little
Yeah.
box. And I'm just like,
I just wanted to see your reaction. Oh my gosh. Vincent, so tell us your journey, man. You were one of the first, I think you were the first ever Filipino love interest on like a national TV show, right?
yeah, I think so. I mean, when I was growing up, I saw Hook. I saw, Dante Bosco. I see him at parties now, and he was a legend for me as in that movie. And Paulo Montalban, he was in Cinderella, and we're actually colleagues. We're friends. He came to my wedding. Like, what? He saw me in my New York debut of a musical that I starred in. Like, he was there opening night, and when he gave me a hug and said, like, "Great job, brother," I like what is happening in my life. So yeah, I had these role models, but I never saw, network television. I watched Night Court, and it's like Star Trek Next Generation and Full House and Family Matters and Seinfeld and Friends, but I never saw a Filipino uh
Yeah.
love interest who was just there
Yeah.
and attractive and sought after, and had women, you know, uh, like going after him, chasing after him, and falling for him.
Fighting over him. The core premise of the show was, I think, I like it was, there's at least three or four love interests literally
Yeah.
obsessed over you, fighting over. Like that was the whole premise of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like Josh Chan was an ex-boyfriend of our protagonist, our anti-hero, Rebecca Bunch, played by Rachel Bloom, same initials, not a coincidence. Rachel Bloom starred in it, co-created it with Aline Brosh McKenna, whose movie you all probably saw, Devil Wears Prada 2. Like, I'm starring in a show run and co-created, written by, and executive produced by the person who wrote one of the most iconic quotable movies of all time that I have quoted as a gay man and as just a human being. Just any scenario, if I can, I will quote "Devil Wears Prada." It's up there. And so, yeah, they created the show, and Rebecca Bunch was in the first episode was living this kind of like very successful life as a lawyer, but it was
Uh-huh.
very apparent that she was not happy and that she was doing it
Yeah.
to get approval from her mother, her very overbearing Jewish mother, played by Toba Felche, another Broadway legend. Oh my
Brilliantly, by
gosh.
the way.
Doing push ups with her between takes was fun.
Okay,
I'll you
get out.
unpack that for a
Seriously?
second. Oh, yeah. She did push ups before every take, and I joined her and I would do push-ups with her. And it was just one of those things like I'm learning to work with stars. I worked with Patti LuPone and Leia Salonga. We're actually friends, Leia and I. And I'd make it like Dr. Phil was on the show. We had like Ricky
Oh, yeah,
Lake
that's
on the
right. There was
show.
Dr. Phil who came
We
on.
had we had Kathleen. Was it Kathleen Jimmy? Was she on the show too? We had just a lot of Nia from Big Fat Greek Wedding, and Connie and Carla. Like we just had these.
It was intense. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
incredibly
It caught
popular.
on. It caught on. The title "Crazy Ex-Girlfriend" alone was very much a rabble rouser
Uh-huh, for
of
sure.
a title. But before that was before people knew what it was.
Mhm.
And now, I mean, I saw a clip of it yesterday because I was trying to take a photo of the title card that says I'm assistant choreographer because I was in episode 302 for my Gene Kelly number, Head in the Clouds, and for like this Fosse
Oh, I love that one.
Chicago
Oh god, yeah.
number.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But they did in that same episode though, they did a Fosse number, and Fosse turns out to be like, because I did musical theater for 11 years based out of New York, and I did like
Uh-huh.
Broadway national tours. And I was actually doing the original cast of Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame while I was filming the pilot of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So I drive
Oh,
from La
wow.
Jolla Playhouse in La Jolla, California, creating Hunchback with Scott Schwartz, Stephen Schwartz's son, and Stephen Schwartz and Alan Menken. Like that was me going
So
to work. And then I'd be like, peace out. I'm going to go be a TV star. And I'm back to being in the ensemble, a dance captain, creating my track in the show. So, like, creating what I do in the show. So, I tumbled in the show. I carried almost every single principal in the show when there was a lift. I did round off back handsprings in the show. I played guitar in the show. I was a lead dancer. I
yeah,
fought a little bit, did dive rolls and
yeah.
stuff. So I just brought like handstands. I like did everything I could on a on a stage, knowing that one, I'm creating the show,
Mhm.
creating my track in the show, which means the costumes I wear will be sold. The set will be
Mm,
sold. Other people are going
right.
to try to do our production, and I've seen people try. Um,
Yeah,
not to downgrade their quality. It's just people love to do their version of a show that they see on stage, but without the
yeah,
direction, without the
right.
creative
Without the help.
team giving the why behind it, it's not it doesn't pop as much. And that show was a blockbuster, man, for theater.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick Page, Claude
Yeah.
Frollo, Michael Arden, director on Broadway of Spring Awakening and Maybe Happy Ending, and now The Lost Boys. He was our Quasimodo. What?
Yeah.
Ciara Renee was
Crazy.
Hawk Girl in Legends of Tomorrow on CW right before I booked Josh Chan and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend on the CW. So this was all like overlapping. And so by the time, we get into the show, like Rebecca Bunch runs into me on the street, and she realizes like, oh my gosh, it's that guy I had a crush on in summer camp as a kid.
Yeah.
And she in this very weak moment of being unhappy with her life, she sees how happy I am and how I'm leaving New York to go back to West
Yeah.
Covina, where I
Yeah.
live. And she's like, West Covina, where is that?
I
And it's
uh,
like, oh,
yeah, and
it's
she literally travels there
she get
that same day and
she gives up her
begins
life.
her journey.
She
You
gives
know
up her
you know
entire life for Josh. Yeah.
I'm curious to hear this because I am one thing that really spoke to me on the show was actually even though Rebecca was an Asian, her
Hmm.
parent was this overbearing parent, really wanted
Yeah.
her to get into a top law school and like
Hmm.
created all this trauma of her own pressure that she put on herself. And it was almost cathartic watching it because there were so many moments where I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I felt that." Like I felt Rebecca's character it wasn't just about seeing you as representation, but it was the story itself. I was curious. I mean, did when you were, I mean, this is a show that centers around essentially somebody overcoming those types of experiences, trauma, and deep wounds while finding happiness and success. Did any of that speak to you, like on that type of story, speak to you while you were on the show?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was inherent that the show was about, I wouldn't even say, I wouldn't say like obsession or girl power or, those are
Mm.
very kind of too broad statements. Our show
Mhm.
has stood the tests of time. We've done a few reunion shows and they sell extremely well. Our fans are
Oh
very
yeah,
loyal and they
yeah,
continue to grow, and they
yeah,
come from all over. Like our last
yeah,
one in LA, people came from a video. Last night, a buddy of mine in my dance class said, "I have a surprise for you." I said, "What is it?" And it was a video of him in the audience at the LA show, and then the camera pans to three different couples all screaming because they're like, oh my gosh, Vincent Rodriguez III, and he's going to see this, like Josh Chan's going to see this video. We just saw him in the show and he was incredible. And one of his friends has
yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
seen an episode of Crazy X, so they were like
Yeah.
educating him throughout the show. So they
I
so
love
so
it.
he was videoing them, and one was Seattle, one couple was from Toronto, another couple was from Wyoming. I mean, we did two sold out nights at Radio City Music Hall in New York City
Yeah,
between seasons 3 and 4 of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and I remember being at the stage door, and I did that thing where like I just signed everyone's autograph
yeah, yeah,
and took photos with
yeah,
every
yeah.
person who waited.
It's a celebrity thing.
That's Yeah, it's a celebrity thing. It's not something all celebrities do, but I'm kind of starting another chapter of my career, and honoring my Filipino heritage, and not
I
just
want
the
to hear more about
heritage,
that.
but also, huh?
Oh, I want to hear more about that. Tell me more
Oh,
about
oh
the
yeah.
connection to your the Filipino heritage thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like you were saying, there's so much parallel between like growing up an Asian person
Hmm.
and what Rebecca was going through with an overbearing mom, who
Yeah,
just wanted her to do mock trials in school, which is in like the
yeah,
flashback scene. So when we
yeah.
fast forward and she's this very, very young lawyer at a huge law firm,
Hmm.
giving up her raise, this whole nother life, because she ran into this guy who made her feel like, and I quote, glitter was exploding inside me.
Yeah,
That's how she described it.
yeah.
The show really hones in on mental health.
Hmm.
It's not as obvious quite yet because all the musical numbers happen in her head. But when she meets us, we start to now get gravitationally pulled into her
Hmm.
depiction of reality through musicals. So
Hmm.
every song in our show, we had over 150 original songs and dances. So 150
Wow, I had
music
no idea
videos
it was
across 4
150.
seasons. Yep, we had 2 to 3
Oh
brand new musical numbers per episode, and we did a 45-minute comedy. So what
that's
we did
insane.
in the same amount of days of a typical comedy, or maybe 1 or 2 days more, was kind of unheard of because we
Yeah,
do scene work, we film it, and then I'm now in the booth recording a song I got yesterday, and
yeah,
then I'm in dance rehearsal later that day. Then I perform it live for the
yeah.
entire writers' room, including Aline Brush McKenna and our line producers and our ads, everybody, all of our creatives. And then 2 days later, like I have a fitting, and then a day after that, I'm now wearing costumes I've only worn once, and I'm performing the number. And after we finish filming it, 5 hours later, all day, whatever, I never buy. It's opening closing night until we
Yeah.
do a live show, and so we do a lot of live shows, and we did done a lot of reunion shows, and so I kind of took this really amazing experience that we had as a cast doing live shows throughout the series, actually, not just Radio City, but we did a tour. In fact, I have a
Yeah.
poster of it right here. We played Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, Chicago, Boston, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. That was Radio
Yeah.
City Music Hall. And then Los Angeles, and then West Covina. And
Oh, you
we
actually went to West
sold
Covina.
out. We went to the West Covina,
I
California.
would. I
Yeah,
think.
we
Yeah, yeah,
went
yeah.
there,
So that's where
and
the show is taking place. Yeah,
that's
100%.
where
I
it
would have
takes
thought that.
place. Like this,
Love it.
because it's a fish out of water story, and so she's the fish
Right.
who's out of her water, and now she's in
Yeah.
this place that is, very diverse, Asian dominant, especially Filipinos. And when you meet Josh in his environment, you meet all
Yeah.
his high school friends, and they're all diverse.
Yeah.
Like a few of them are white, but really we had a lot of diversity, a lot of inclusion, gay, straight, bi.
Yeah.
We had characters that written into the show being bi,
Yeah.
and we saw trans representation. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So on the show, I learned it doesn't matter what role you get cast in. There are no small parts, just small actors, because
Yeah.
some of our
How do
actors were
you?
hired to be. Yeah, how do how do you navigate that mentally? Show up as your best, knowing you're not a
Mm,
series regular. You're there to do a
yeah.
guest star or reoccurring or whatever. But in
Yeah.
this scenario, those people got promoted and I watched them.
Yeah.
I watched them get promoted to something bigger. I watched writers' room assistants become right writers in the room. And then they had their
Yeah.
name
They
on an
they like.
episode.
Wow. That's
They
wild.
grew, so I'm an avid believer in that saying, you can believe that life happens to you,
Right.
or
Or
you can choose to believe, use your agency to believe that life happens for you. And so, as
I love
embarrassed
that.
as I was like, I mean, it's very helpful in those moments, but it was for me. I learned so much about leadership, about how they listened to me. And later on my journey of mental health and learning I was neurodivergent through pandemic, and we
Hey,
all went
hold on a
through a
second.
lot,
Sorry,
you know?
Vince.
And so I learned that about
You
myself.
I want to specifically jam on this point that you just brought up. You're talking about your neurodivergence. This is something that you've been quite open about. Can you tell us
Mhm.
what is your neurodivergence? What was your story in kind of discovering that and how that was for you?
Yeah, sure. So during the pandemic, uh, I had just started journaling pretty heavily, and I
So
joined this
before
kind
this,
of.
you weren't aware of like any
No,
neurodivergence. You were just
no,
like, I'm neurotypical. Everything was. This is still during the Josh Chan times and everything like that. So during
I
the
knew
pandemic,
nothing.
you're journaling. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I
Keep
really
going.
didn't know anything. I had heard, oh, everyone has a little ADHD.
Yeah.
I knew a little bit about it. And I didn't have anyone in my life as an example. So I didn't have a role model who was
Yeah.
doing what I was doing career wise, who was of a like mind, who looked like me, who
Mhm.
had a similar lived experience as a Filipino, a similar
Mhm.
experience as a out gay person.
Mhm. Yeah.
He,
That's a lot
him
of
pronouns.
firsts.
There's a lot of firsts, and then and we had never seen, like I said earlier, like I mean, I had never seen a Filipino love interest on network television before, and
Yeah.
it turns out that my character was. And to this day I still say it in interviews jokingly, but also like pretty serious, like, if you find out I'm not the first and you know someone else that we have
I when
not
when
said,
I when I when I
tell
did
me,
background checks,
because like
yeah,
like I
it kept coming up. It was like,
yeah,
Vincent Rodriguez III is the first, Filipino American, so I'm sure there's been
right,
other Filipinos,
yeah,
obviously, but on network television, at least, I wasn't able to find any other ones. Was that
yeah, I mean,
what was that
I never
experience
saw
like
it.
for you? Was it a topic that came up? Did people ask you about that? Did you get any letters about it being the first Filipino American love interest on a network show?
I didn't get letters. I think as I got more, active on social media, people would just tell me to my face, or
Oh, wow.
they, I would every once in a while, I get messages from
What
people.
would they tell you?
They would just say how much it means to them to
Oh,
see
yeah.
their culture represented, and they also commented on how I was representing, like how I was showing up, and how
Mhm.
they got to know me outside of my role, and I was actually kind, and I was smart, and I was attentive and warm, and not as dim as Josh, and
No.
very charming, and all
Yeah.
these things. And so that was pretty cool. And I guess for me, I felt a lot of responsibility.
Tell me more about that.
Well, being the first anything sets a sets you up to be put on a pedestal, and
Yeah.
that pedestal can get really high, and the higher you get put up there, the longer the fall and the harder the impact when you hit the ground.
Was it
So
was it scary then to, like, to see people give you that role or that acknowledgement that, like, yeah, you're the first Asian, they're the first Filipino American love interest on network television. It means a lot to see you there. The way your family shows up, all of that. Did you feel
yeah.
pressure to, like, "I have to represent now?" Like,
Oh yeah. I mean,
hey, I just wanted to let you know that Big Asian Energy is officially out, and you can go and pick it up anywhere you buy books, Amazon, Barnes& and Nobles, etc. If you've ever felt like there's something stopping you from reaching your full potential, if you've ever felt like you want to have that unstoppable charisma and confidence in the work that you do, as well as just the way you show up in life, this might be the book for you. It is a book that is jam-packed with research studies, advice, case studies, stories, and of course, so many different techniques and takeaways, including communication, as well as mindset, as well as confidence, and all the other topics out there. It just won one of the best books of 2025 on Amazon. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go take a look. And finally, if you have a few seconds, can I also ask you to leave a quick review for Big Asian Energy? It not only means the world to us to hear from you, but more importantly, it does absolutely help us in reaching more audiences. I hope you're having an amazing day, and thanks again.
I still look back at my work and I'm like not proud of all of it.
What?
Like,
What are you
oh
not proud of?
man.
What?
Well, it's because hindsight is 2020. Like I know more about acting and about the craft of acting and artistry and performing arts than I did then, which is this journey I've been on since I
Lifelong
mean,
practice.
it's been a lifelong practice. Like I went to school at the Pacific Conservatory of Performing Arts in 2001 for 2 years, graduated May 2003. By August, I booked a national tour of the Broadway tap musical 42nd Street, did that for
Oh,
nine
wow.
months of my life, joined the union, went back to New York, had no money, didn't save anything, had my union card and a 60-pound duffel bag and no credits among New
How
York City. New
how
York
how
City.
did you
And
how did you go
it
how
was
did you go
nuts.
from that as an Asian actor in particular? Like, what, like, that must have been I that must have been challenging, right? I can't imagine there's a lot of
Extremely.
roles back then
No,
for
it
this
was it
new
was really
thing.
no, it was really hard. I didn't grow up being championed 100% by my parents. That's not something I think is common in our Asian community. But more specifically for me, my Filipino upbringing, uh, being a first generation Filipino in a family full of second generation, because I was the only one born here. They were all
Mm,
born in Manila, which is where my family is from. My mom's actually from Cavite, and so, any Filipinos out there, if you see a street called Coquico Street, which I think is now a parking garage, that's my family. My name is Vincent Coquico Rodriguez III. And I
wow.
didn't know that. And it was named after my mom's brother who died at a very early age
Oh my
flying
god.
a plane on a test before going out to war. And he was told, like, you're going to crash. And one of the things he was known for is they told him where to crash so that he wouldn't hurt anyone. And like when my mom told me this, I've heard it before, but this last trip, my mom told it to me again, and this time I recorded her, so I wanted to transcribe her using my AI app because
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
wanted my stories now, and
Yeah,
and so it's been cool to kind of use these tools of AI to
and
capture
yeah, what did
my
she say?
oh my gosh. I mean, she got a little emotional about it, which makes sense.
Yeah,
But her brother was a hero, and
of course she
um,
was, yeah.
it was like sad that I never got to meet him, and I was just grateful that I even remembered to ask.
Yeah.
But I was curious, like, what my ties were to Manila because I didn't visit Manila aside from like a trip when I was 5, but I had
Yeah.
never visited since then. So 2 years ago with Don Mike, we we did 3 trips to Manila. The first one was doing my
Wow.
solo show. Yeah, I did my solo show after having done it in a handful of cities. I'm like, Oh, there's my poster. I did Washington, D.C., Pittsburgh, Honolulu, New York City, Vegas, and San Francisco. And obviously, that is before we added Manila to the
Yeah.
docket. But that was huge. Like I was
So how did
already
you?
doing. Go ahead.
But we're gonna come back to the story about how
Yeah.
you ended up booking Crazy X and that whole
Okay.
process and how what was that
Right.
process like?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I auditioned in New York like every other Asian in LA and New York.
Yeah.
I found this out later. Like I was in an all Filipino musical called Here Lies Love, which was on Broadway 2 years ago. And I was in the second year of its inception at the Public Theater, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's one of the most prestigious theater companies in New York City. That's not a Broadway house. It's an off-Broadway house, but it's an institution, really. And so when you do, I mean, a chorus line started there, was workshop there. Hamilton was rehearsing while I was rehearsing the second
Wow.
year, the 2.0 of Here Lies Love, because it was sold out. Like everyone saw the first year, like Hugh Jackman and like Jake Gyllenhaal and all these like celebrities. You couldn't get a ticket because because it was in a box and there was a limited capacity, according to the fire marshal. So only 250 could fit. So they remounted it the second year. Some people moved on to get other jobs, and one of them
Mhm.
was a position. My buddy Josh Dela Cruz, who you'll remember from Blues Clues, Joshua
Mhm.
Dela
Yep.
Cruz, he left his ensemble position to go be the cover of the title role of Aladdin on Broadway. So I auditioned originally for the show, but then I didn't get it. And then I had gotten this uh workshop, and Ruthie Ann Miles, who plays Imelda in Here Lies Love, was in it. And I didn't know who she was. And she had already done Here Lies Love. Like she's already like a star, you know? And she came up to me and said, "Hey, have you been in for Here Lies Love?" And I'm like, "No, Ruthie Ann Miles, who I just met and who I've seen sing and do a few
Just reach
scenes and
out.
whose talent I really do not know." Like I didn't know her talent because she didn't have to do anything for this particular part in this workshop. But me, I was in the ensemble being workshopped through dances, being told you're Japanese in this one, now you're Korean, now you're
Oh my
Chinese, and now
god.
you're prestigious, and now you're like poor, and now you're doing a jazz number, now doing a theater number, now you're just crossing at a train station. Like all of these things I was building, creating, I was treating it like I was hired to bring to life the ensemble, which
Mhm.
I'm under the school of thought that an ensemble to any show,
Yeah.
they create the environment that the audience knows they're in, which frames the lead characters who are giving us the emotional arc within that environment. So
So
I did
so
ensemble work
you
for a
were
long time.
got it. So you this was when you were still doing your
That,
your
yeah,
stage trip. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
And
And
then
so
and then
so
you
so
got
I'm in the
connected to the
Oh my
show.
God. It was nuts because in the middle of that, now I got Here Lies Love because Ruthie Ann Miles told me what my audition
You gotta
should
go do
be.
it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I did like take everything she said. I nailed it. I think
Of course you did.
I felt confident about my work. So
Yeah.
I'll just say it like that because saying I nailed it sounds so like a little like stuck
Yeah.
up. But
I like
as
the
an
way you put
artist,
that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I did I was very proud of my work. I got the
Yeah.
job. It got me further. I ended up playing the DJ who starts the show. I played him for the first month of the run after opening night because my buddy
Mhm.
Kelvin who played it, he was opening another Broadway show in DC before it goes to before it, like a pre-Broadway tryout of Sideshow before it went to Broadway. So all these like little moments were
Yeah.
setting me up for something amazing. And the one moment I have to include before I get to the audition, which is this is a basic story, the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend booking story. But I was also up for this. I laugh because it's kind of ridiculous on my end, but they were doing a Tupac Shakur musical called Holla If You Hear Me. And it was an all black cast. Wait for it. With
Okay.
one light-skinned black person in the entire cast, and they wanted an Asian male or a Latino male to
Okay.
understudy that non-dark-skinned black character, but they're still
Interesting.
black. And that character sings Thug Mansion by Tupac Shakur and accompanies himself on guitar. So this character has to play guitar, do the monologue that's in the beginning of that song, rap. Oh, by the way, the N word was in that monologue, and I had to say
Oh,
it when I
oh yeah,
auditioned.
oh yeah. No, no, no.
Awkward
Definitely.
feeling. So, like, after watching it on YouTube, I realized the chord structure and the strum pattern that was nowhere near the intricate stuff, but it was like the intricate lead guitarist would do that, and then I was doing like the strum pattern of the backup guitarist. That's kind of what I did. So I learned
Yeah.
that. I marked it on my sheet, so I knew downstroke, upstroke, because I played violin as a kid. I used iambic pentameter where I stressed
Yeah.
certain
Yeah. Yeah.
words. And
Yeah.
2 hours later, I can play this song. I can play Thug
Okay.
Mansion by Tupac Shakur, rap it and sing it and do the monologue. So I can speak while I play, which is really hard to do, by the
That's
way.
wild.
And our
My, my.
cast wasn't actually all Filipino. And our director, our creator, none of them were Filipino. Alex Timbers directed it, Broadway's
Mm.
Alex Timbers, Beetlejuice, and Moulin Rouge,
Right.
which
Yeah.
happened after our show. David Byrne from the Talking Heads, he wrote it.
Yeah.
He wrote the musical and beats. The music was Fat Boy Slim, the DJ
Oh
who
my
I grew up
gosh.
listening to. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And so that moment was a highlight of what was special. And then the following day, I basically got asked to go back in for Holla If You Hear Me. And my agent said they said that their talent pool has changed and they think that you are now a front runner. So
Oh wow.
they want you to come back in for your final callback.
Okay.
And I was looking around and I'm like, that's a Broadway debut.
You have a way of jumping off. Like you have this whole energy on screen that is very likable, like very
Mm.
easy to get. And I felt like it was in particular because it was such a contrast to the kind of Asian roles that we're used to seeing at the time, right? Which were usually more like they were studious, they were nerdy, they were like
Oh yeah.
intellectual, or they were the
Stereotypical.
kung fu types. And then
Yeah.
so you brought a very different version. Oh, I'm wondering, so it's been a few years now since that show has kind of, I know that you guys are still doing live performances. Netflix just
Yeah.
had you guys do
Yeah.
another live performance, which
Yeah.
I was really
It
sad
was
to miss.
great.
People were sending it to me. People were like, "Are you flying
Yeah.
down for this?" And I'm like, I'm
Netflix is
getting
a
a job."
joke fest. Yeah.
Oh
In
man, it's
LA.
so good. Do you feel like the things have changed for Asian actors in Hollywood? Is it in the way that you would have hoped? Is it changed in different ways? What are your thoughts around that?
I think it's definitely excelled. Like I noticed a huge shift when Crazy Ex-Girlfriend became more known
Mhm.
in the middle of season one, and then we got picked up for season two, which felt kind of like a miracle. Um, but just the fan, they found us. You know that phrase, "Build it and they will come." It,
Absolutely, yeah.
it it's advice I give my students, or whenever I'm asked to coach anyone, or if people ask me advice, I that's one of the pieces of advice I'll offer because it's true. Even casting, like they don't know what they. Sometimes they really don't know what they want until they see it, and
Mhm.
but there's this mindset that us as actors have to really like unlearn, and the mindset is I'm going to audition and wait for them to give me a job. So I'm
Mm.
gonna give them my power, and they're gonna give me a job. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's the way the world works. You interview for a position, and if it's a right fit, you jump through all these hoops, and they like you, and they like your work, and they think it'll be a good fit. It'll complement the team they already have. Then they hire you. But for actors, there's so much gray because we work in a creative setting, which is subjective. And
Mhm.
what I've learned from the shows, and I've been very blessed, I have a resume, stage work of, yeah, I've replaced at times, like people, like parts were made and then they needed a replacement to do the job. But I've also created musicals.
Mm.
Like I originated parts. And what I learned is that I'm quoting a, is it Molly Cyrus? Life is what you make it. But
Love
let's
it.
replace life with the story. The meaning of the story is what
Mm.
you make it.
I love that.
So you can sing "This Is the Moment," like from Jekyll and Hyde, like the ballad, it's a power, this
Mhm.
is
Yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah.
moment, this is the
You get to
day.
decide what
You,
the
you,
meaning and the
yeah,
story behind it
yeah,
is. Yeah, I
yeah.
love that.
And well, I love the sentiment of "This Is the Moment," but I remember when I was growing up, I knew what it meant for me, but I would never sing it really that way. And
Mm,
so now when I approach songs, especially because I'm a hired voiceover artist who gets hired pretty regularly, one thing that's very evident and is not taught is how you have to create meaning very quickly. And
mm,
that implies that you believe in meaning that you give. And that meaning can
mm.
change based on what your collaborators want to try on you.
I love it.
So you have to be willing to surrender. You
Mhm.
have to be willing to love this. I don't remember who said it. Let go or fall.
Oh, I like it. Let
Because
go or fall. I love
one is in your control, letting go. The
letting
other
go,
one
yeah.
is you
Having that control
fell.
taken. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you're the one who lets go. As opposed to
right.
you were going and then you fell, which wasn't in
Yeah,
your control. But you
I
can
love
also
that.
just let go knowing you'll fall. And now that's you exercising your agency. And if you're lucky, if you're lucky, you learn. And I was just talking to a friend of mine about this last night because he's an actor and we've just taken a dance class. I was sharing some of my methodology with him. And I was telling him how I have this framework I made called the FIG framework. And it's the idea that F in the American alphabet stands for fail. Well, F is not the end of the alphabet. It's just the end of the grading system. And it's the lowest
Mhm.
end. Well, people are afraid to fail. We don't
Yeah,
want to fail, especially if you're Asian. If you fail, you fail. You dishonor the family. You're not worthy.
yeah. There's so
You
many
didn't get
sub
good
stories that
grades.
were yeah.
That's a very common story that we're told and that we live with and believe in for, I mean, if you're unlucky for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Because I don't think that's a good way to live your existence as a human. And so
absolutely.
the letter after F in the full alphabet is G.
Yeah.
Well, if F stands for failure, then what does the G stand for? And for
What does it
me,
stand
it's
for?
growth.
Oh, I like that.
And it's called fig because the fig, the
Failure
I is
the
failure
failure is growth. Oh, I
is
love that. Oh, the
growth.
FIG. Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful framework. Thank you for sharing that.
And it's
Uh,
kind of a good baseline, because otherwise I wouldn't be here with the parts I have and the knowledge I have without having failed so many times. But many of us
mhm.
do not know how to deal with the emotions that come up as reactions to what's happening around us. And we, unfortunately, parents, leaders, teachers, just people, we were never taught how to regulate those
Yeah,
emotions
yeah,
with knowledge of our nervous system and how your biology, how your physiology, how your neurobiology works. And
yeah.
that's been like an obsession of mine
I love it.
for a while. It just got honed in once I, you know, got to post Crazy Ex Girlfriend and, having booked a part, rapping a song. Like I rapped that Tupac Shakur song at my audition on tape and they were like, whoa. And then Rachel Bloom on her honeymoon was like, that's Josh Chan. Whoever this guy, Vincent Rodriguez III is, only Josh would do that.
That's
And,
Josh. That's a Josh
and
move.
then, going through the 4 years of this one of the most amazing times of my life, really very formative for me and kind of unofficially graduating from the school of TV and television with my 4 years, finishing Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. That's kind of what I said in my rap gift to them. Like I feel like I graduated from a 4 year
Oh,
program, and
yeah.
from there, time passed and I worked and I kept that confidence. I held it up. But it was confidence behind what I had at the time. And so
Mm,
when I look back at that work, yeah, I'm not as proud. And it's taken me a long time to learn that it is so important to give yourself permission to empower yourself by forgiving the past version of yourself who embarrassed you or who didn't quite
Mm,
live up to your current expectations.
I
Like you
love
got
that.
to
Thank you for sharing that.
forgive that
Yeah,
version of you, because then that only helps you heal and no one can do that work for you. So
that's right.
now we get to the pandemic and now it's like, oh my gosh. And now this, you could call it an unraveling. I'll call it an unraveling, but I'm going to spin it in a positive way. There was an unraveling. And as
Yeah.
Michael Beckwith would say, that he says like what you're looking for doesn't radiate from the outside.
Mm,
What you're looking for emerges from within you.
I love that. Okay.
And
So
that's kind of,
before we close up here, because I want to be watchful of time here, I want to kind of just give a quick check-in. Is there anything that you're working on right now that you'd love for more people to find out about?
yeah. I've been trying to be more active on social media, but I'll be honest, it's been really tough right now with the state of the world and what's going on,
Yeah.
with our government. And as a hypersensitive person, one of the things that is part of that is an ability to empathize and to feel other people's feelings and
Mm,
perceive energies in a room or in a space. And
yeah.
so, what's been challenging for me is through therapy and through psychiatry and through, antidepressants and through reading a lot of books and doing a lot of learning on social media, because like social media is now like a school. Like, depending on what you're following, you can learn a lot of things. So, for me, like Instagram isn't like just social media. I learn on social media. I learn on TikTok. I learn on Instagram, more so on YouTube. So, I'll go into shorts and then I have certain people I follow and I'll do long form. But throughout that journey, I've learned so much. And it's kind of created a new version of myself that has been working on like owning what I can do and
Mm,
not sticking to this box that I've been put in my entire life. And like I said earlier, I'm starting a new chapter of my life. And so, you know, uh, on my deck of things I'm making or things I'm manifesting right now, well, first was my production company, VR3 Productions. I started creating methodology and trying to figure out what it was. And through like research online and through some strategizing and ideation with my AI bot Claude,
supporter.
who I name
Yeah.
Jarvis. Um,
Which is a more
Jarvis from
appropriate name, if
I think
slightly,
so.
yeah, pre-existing.
I was, in my mind, I'm a kid at heart and,
Yeah, I
I
love
do
it.
art for a living and I'm creative for a living. And I've
Yeah,
recorded for Disney at the Disney
yeah,
lot. Like I've done the voice of
exactly.
Raiden in video games. Like, so play is a
Yeah,
huge part of my identity and
incredible.
creativity. And so I thought, well, I want to name my AI bot, my assistant, my
Something
AI
yeah,
assistant, something that resonates with me, that's fun and kind of helps frame my mind as the captain of my ship,
I love it.
not a passenger,
That's
someone who has casted myself in the movie that is my life, isn't auditioning for you to give me a job, but like I can
yeah.
give myself a job. So I was building that agency, and through that, I discovered this kind of creative alchemy that
Uh,
I had been inadvertently creating
with
since I was a kid. Like this idea
yeah,
that your mind and your body are connected. Like I have two black belts. That's a mind body
this
connection I was trained in. Musical
this is it.
theater, mind body
Yeah,
connection. Synthesizing martial arts and dance and singing and acting and guitar and piano and clarinet and being a drum major and a conductor. Being a magic consultant because I'm a magician. So I
oh
can
my gosh.
engineer magic effects because it's part of being a magician. You have to improvise, so I can improvise. So I teach a lot of these things in master classes and in unofficial coachings that I do with my students or with sometimes strangers because people listen to me. And when they learn that my intentions are genuine and are not
Yeah.
tied to monetary value, one, it results in pursuing this for so many years and never actually making money from teaching because I didn't care about the money. But now that's changed. Now it's like, okay, I gotta like make a living. But yeah, so I created a methodology, and it's called neurosomatic creative alchemy. So
Amazing.
neuro means brain,
Yeah.
somatic means body, so mind
Yeah.
body connection, or as my former trainer would say, mind muscle connection. And that's why, I look
Uh,
a certain way and why I have like
yeah.
muscles the way I
You have the
do.
muscles.
Uh, yeah, well, because I made it. Like I made that.
And
Like Eric
yeah.
taught me how to create my body the way an acting school would teach you how to create a character and then
And
live as them in a
how do
story.
people find how do people find out more about this and find out
Oh
your stuff?
gosh. Well, you gotta message me on social media, and
Yeah.
you gotta comment on
Follow
on the
follow
content I
follow
have there.
Vincent. Follow
Follow
Vincent's
me.
Instagram link. We're definitely going to put your link up there so that people can find out
Yes,
more.
please
And
do.
there's so much that Vincent does, by the way, that you need to go check out. So if you do get a chance to see him in anything, take the time to do so because I cannot recommend it enough. His work is brilliant.
Please do.
Uh,
I I
Vincent,
I I do have projects coming up too. So I'm like, you should go see that.
yeah,
Because I feel
yeah.
like I buried a
Follow him
lead
on
here. And I
Insta.
was like, wait a
There's
minute.
going to be
I'm
more
in
things
something.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm in an indie film right now. I'm like, I want you guys to go see it. Like, you guys should go see that indie film. It's called Ever After. It's starring Sarah Michelle Gellar, play a supporting
Oh yeah,
role.
that's
I can't
right.
wait
Yeah,
for it to
you
come
have a
out.
film coming out with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm so excited to see
Yeah,
that. It is
yeah,
every
still
single one
filming.
of
And
my oh my gosh, yeah, Sarah
oh my
Michelle
god,
Gellar
oh,
is
I'm
my
I'm I'm
baby.
obsessed with her. I'm
Oh my
obsessed
god,
with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I grew up on that. That was
Buffy. That
formative
was
for me.
my yeah,
That
great
was
part of my childhood.
life.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vincent. You are you're such a joy. Really appreciate it. And people, please take a moment to go check out Vincent's work all over the place and all the stuff that he's coming out with. Once again, if there's something that you heard on this show that really excited you or connected to you, please take a moment and send it to somebody in your life, to a friend. And as always, we have always someone to say on the show. When we rise together. We're here for you. Thank you so much. Until next time. See you later.